Hi guys, I'm here with 400 metre British champion Laviai Nielsen. I'm so lucky to have been able to train with Laviai over the past couple of years, but today I'm going to ask Laviai a bit more about her athletics journey and ask her some advice for us younger athletes. So I've known you now for 2 years, but I don't know much about your journey from a junior athlete to becoming a British champion. Could you tell me a little bit more about your childhood journey?
Sure, so in a nutshell, in 2007 we found out that the London Olympics were coming to our hometown, and we lived not too far from where the Olympics were eventually held, and our school decided that they wanted to turn a really old building into a sports playground. So the day that opened, we saw the track, my sister and I, my twin sister and I, and as soon as we saw it, we just thought, yes, that's what we want to do. So we went onto the track, and I just remember it was like a lunchtime, and we'd had our lunch, and we just decided that we wanted to see how long we could go for. So we were just running and running and running, and our friends were like really shocked that we hadn't stopped running. And we were so competitive that neither one of us wanted to stop first.
Quick question, how long were you running for? How long was that lunch break?
It would have been about 45 minutes.
That's a long time to
I
keep
know,
running
we just
for.
kept running and running. I remember because the boys were jumping in and then they would drop out. It just gave us this extra boost of energy because we were like, we can beat the boys.
Gotta beat them.
So after we finished primary school, we joined our first athletics club, which is your athletics club with the Green Essex Ladies. That was our first club.
And it was always just a hobby, and we never really took it very seriously. I remember we just wanted to train when we wanted to train. It was only once we were 16 when the Olympics were finally around in London. We competed, we volunteered at the London 2012 Olympics, and we were really inspired by what happened there, and just being at the forefront and seeing it with our very own eyes right there on the track. That's when we decided that we wanted to train for it, and then we found the 400 the year after that, and we haven't looked back since.
Teenage girls have it quite difficult. Not only the physical changes in our body, but also balancing social pressures and academics alongside sports. What advice could you give us?
Yeah, no one really talks about how difficult it is to navigate school and then training and everything else that comes with it. So the advice that I would give is just to, number one, try and be really organised. I think that's the main thing that sort of got me through school and then as well through university. I think I started training full time as I started university, so that was very difficult. But I just remember thinking, if I can be really disciplined with my schedule, then that will make life so much easier. And of course we live very unique lives. We train pretty much straight after school, you would train, and so you have to be really organised with things like your nutrition, make sure you're eating enough, because that can have an impact not just on your athletics but also on your academics as well.
Also just to enjoy it, because I think especially in school you have so much time to do everything that you want to do, in terms of longevity in your career, you have so much time. So if one day you're not feeling up for it, you're not feeling like you've got the energy, you're feeling quite down, then that's okay. Like professional athletes take breaks as well, which is something that no one ever talks about, no one ever says. You know, there's always this mentality that it's like no rest for the Mickey and train hard every single day, but sometimes you do need to take a break. Like I had to take a break last week because it was too much for me, and I just thought this rest day will be so much more beneficial than me training through this day. So just making sure that you're enjoying it and that you're having fun, because that would just make life so much easier. You'd want to work hard if you're passionate about it and if you're having fun.
As we all know, athletes have very strict and healthy diets. How important is it to have a good nutrition for teenage athletes?
I think it's very important, especially for teenage athletes, to make sure they have a very good diet. Maybe not being so strict, but just making sure that you're eating enough, because as I mentioned before, there's a very demanding schedule with teenage athletes, especially going through school, which of course takes up a lot of energy, but then also making sure you're recovering from sessions, making sure you have enough energy for your training sessions after school. So I would say just make sure you're eating enough of the right foods. Obviously, excuse me, we know that things like sugar can slack up our energy, and then we end up having that crash, and that's probably something that you don't want, especially with your very long days where you're in school for the morning, in the afternoon, then you're in training in the afternoon.
So trying to avoid things like sugar, high fats, especially with, you train for the 400, right?
Yeah,
400.
hopefully soon.
So making sure you have a good combination of carbohydrates and protein. Protein to repair muscles, blood muscles break down during training, but then also carbohydrates is our main energy source.
Yeah.
It's also something that can become quite depleted through training, so making sure that we restore that so that we're ready for the next day. Next day including school as well, because otherwise you'll just start school with really low energy, and that's probably something that you don't want to do as well, so I think it's really important.
The 2020 Olympics are postponed until next year. This will be your first ever Olympics. How excited are you?
I'm so excited. I was really excited going into 2020 because I just competed at the World World Championships, and it kind of gave me a taste of what was to come at the Olympics. So it was a shame that it was postponed, but it gave me another year to sort of get stronger and get faster, and I think that was a good thing for me, just trying to be positive with that. But yeah, so excited for Tokyo. I think it will be an amazing atmosphere. I think Japan is such a cool place. I went last year in 2019, so I just think it'll be amazing.
Okay, final question. You have a well-known sister, Lena, who does 400-meter hurdles. Have you ever used your twin powers to cause mischief?
Yeah, I wouldn't say they're twin powers, but definitely in school we swapped classes a lot, and Lena, I would say, was a lot more bold, and she was a lot louder in school, where I was quite shy and quite reserved. So I remember the first time we switched classes, it was like, what was it called, like form room.
Yeah.
So she went into my class, she sat down, she put her hand on the chair, she was like so confident. I went into her form room and I was so nervous, I was like, he's definitely going to catch me out, the teacher's going to catch me out.
So I just picked up a book and like tried to hide up my face. And like 5 minutes in, he's like, Lavia.
I was like, how did you know? He's like, Lena never picks up a book. And that's how we found out. So yeah, but we didn't get too much trouble. I think the teachers always found it quite funny. But after that first time, we tried to do it again and again and again, and we never got caught out after that.
Thank you, Lavia. That was absolutely amazing.
And thank you for all your insightful questions, and I will see you at training on Saturday morning.
See you guys!